Nebraska is under investigation for the way they report name, image, and likeness transactions. What's this all about? And is it widespread? Locked on Big Ten starts right now.
You are Locked On Big Ten, your daily podcast on the Big Ten Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Big Ten. I'm Craig Shemon, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Now, the #1 sports podcast network. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Hey, hit that free subscribe button down below. That way you'll never miss a single episode. We are here every day. And if you could share, like, and follow and hype, that would help us out too. So we're going to talk about the Nebraska situation. And then a former athletic director is writing a tell-all book behind the scenes at Nebraska. This isn't good. Plus, we've got the latest Big Ten news and our Big Ten classics all coming up. The College Sports Commission just rolls off the tongue. You remember this, right? It was created last summer as part of the House settlement that came up with revenue share and rules and discipline for name, image, and likeness and how it was all going to be hashed out, all such things. And this group, again, the College Sports Commission, they informed Nebraska in January that is opening an investigation into the Cornhuskers athletics department and whether they failed to properly report name, image, and likeness deals. Now, the College Sports Commission, or the CSC, they says they launched several inquiries into possible violations. And since the NCAA House settlement last summer, any name, image, and likeness contract, any deal that's out there above $600, it's got to be reported. It's got to be reviewed, and it's got to be approved. And it's got to go through the name, image, and likeness Go software that they've set up, and then ensures that all transactions are for fair market value for a specific business deal or a purpose. Basically, in short, back in the old days, the Wild Wild West of name, image, and likeness when it first came on the scene, hypothetically, a car dealer in town, in a college town, could write a check for $500,000, say, "Here, come play for my school." That's it. Never have to see you again. It would pay for play. And that's exactly what name, image, and likeness was not supposed to be. A dealer can still give a kid $500,000, for example, but the kid has to be providing $500,000 worth of services, whether it be in his commercials, do some work, whatever, public appearances. Well, for $500,000, going to be a lot of public appearances. Anyway, there's got to be, and there's a group and there's a list with this college commission, and all right, this much money, you're doing this. All right, we approve, do it. Anything above $600 has to go through this system. So apparently there were some gaps in what Nebraska was reporting. And again, this name, image, and likeness money, separate from revenue share monies that athletic departments can pay directly to the students. That's more of the pay for play thing. So Nebraska Athletic Director Tony Dennen, he received notification on January 15th. This just happened a couple of weeks ago. And it said, one of your sports teams failed to report one or more third-party name, image, and likeness contracts in accordance with the established rules. The notification requested that Dennen and a member of the compliance department schedule a phone call with the CSC for a brief little chat. So give us a call. You're in trouble. So a couple weeks later, January 29th, Nebraska's associate AD for compliance, Patty Peterson, she wrote, and all this information is out there for Freedom of Information Act, public university and all that. She wrote that two athletes, their names were redacted, that they had followed through and submitted additional details to nil.go, the clearinghouse site they have to send all the stuff to and get stuff approved. She said that both student athletes were confused about the timing of deals and payments of those deals and whether they triggered the post-House NCAA settlement disclosure requirements. Now, that's what happened. I always give you my opinion on this stuff. And I'll give you my opinion on this as well. So I know for a fact that a lot of name, image, and likeness deals were getting pushed through and rushed through early last summer before the House settlement became final, before it was the law of the land in college athletics. So, in an effort to avoid situations like this, reporting and approval and all this kind of stuff, some deals were rushed through. Um, if the timing adds, Nico Liava, when he went to UCLA, got his deal done before all this stuff was in place. He was the biggest one at the time. So look, I don't think there's, and again, give me my opinion here. I don't think there's any malfeasance. I don't think anybody was trying to rush anything through so they didn't have to report it. I mean, maybe there was, but the act of pushing this through, it's no different than you or me moving some money around, but waiting till after January 1st so we can wait another year to report it on our taxes, something like that. It would be very believable to me that a deal was agreed to, say, in early June last year, right before the House settlement came in, but maybe the money came in later in the summer or in the fall or during the season and after the House NCAA settlement. And that's what I think happened here. This isn't like an SMU death penalty situation, okay? So there's nothing like that. And by the way, LSU is being investigated for a similar situation. So my big question in all this is about the responsibility here. Is this on the compliance department at Nebraska, or is it on the student athletes? Now, me as an adult, grown man, parent, I would say the responsibility is for the student athletes. But you know, and I know that 19-year-old kids can't be trusted with deadlines and getting things turned in. They're all unorganized at that age. So it's got to, and plus this is real important stuff. And maybe some of it's complicated with contracts and all that. And that's why you need the compliance departments for these athletic departments to be totally in charge of this. So that's really where I look at here. So in this report, it was mentioned that one of the student athletes at Nebraska was still actually looking for the original contract in order to put this to bed. See, this is what I mean. The kids that age, they're unorganized. I mean, this contract was probably jammed and wadded up in the back of a backpack or back of a closet or something. So I am surprised that the compliance officers in the athletic department weren't more on top of the situation and let this fall through the cracks. Don't know the names of the two athletes at Nebraska. Don't know the sports that they were involved in. Don't know about the LSU situation. That information has not been made public. So because of that, I'm not sure how widespread this is. And frankly, I'm a little surprised that these are the only instances we've heard of. So are Nebraska and LSU the first two to have these deals fall through the cracks? Are they the only two? I don't know. We don't know yet. Either way, I don't think there are going to be any major punishments to come down for a couple of reasons. Actually, Nebraska seemed to act on this quickly and remedy the situation. So good for them. And also the newly created CSC may not actually have enforcement power yet, because schools have not officially signed the agreement that was drafted by the conference commissioners from the House settlement. The ruling came down in the courts. Then they put all these rules together, created this commission with oversight, but nobody signed the dotted line yet. It's been a few months. So regarding the terms of this, defining the CSC's enforcement and investigative rules and protocols, not on paper yet anyway, even though they're acting in good faith as if it's been a done deal. Now, as long as we're talking about Nebraska here, remember the former AD, Bill Moose, he wrote a book, Crab Creek Chronicles. He said he never wanted to fire former head coach Scott Frost from Central Florida. He said Frost was not ready and was too immature. He actually wanted to hire Chip Kelly, but that was frowned upon by a major booster, so that didn't happen. Scott Frost was not successful returning to his alma mater, and he was fired, and that's when Matt Rule came in. Moose also said that he wanted to hire Dana Altman as his basketball coach, but he also said, here's the kicker. I might explore this a little further. He said that he approached the Big 12 about leaving the Big 10 a few years ago and returning to the Big 12. I thought that was an explosive revelation. By the way, to date, Nebraska has been in the Big 10 longer than they were in the old Big 12. It's crazy stuff. Husker fans, I want to hear from you. Absolutely want to hear from you about the name, image, and likeness infractions, about this tell-all book, and this previous athletic director. Could have changed Huskers history forever. Hit me up in the comments. Would love to hear from you on it. Be sure to hit that free subscribe button down below. That way you'll never miss a single episode. We are here every day. And if you can do us a favor, also share, follow, and like. And don't forget to check out our website, talkbig10.com. It's a special place. We put all of our podcasts there. We archive them all, so you can go back and check out what we did yesterday for a second listen. You'll love it. And also there are links where you can just click on the school logo, like you can the big bright red N for Nebraska. Click it on. It'll take you to the Nebraska Cornhuskers store, Nebraska shirts and pennants and hoodies and all that kind of stuff. Coffee mugs, all right there for every Big Ten team, all 18 Big Ten teams, right there at talkbig10.com. You can also get Indiana Hoosier National Championship swag there. Talkbig10.com. All right, coming up, we're going to talk about college prop bets. You can't do it in most places, and it's an issue. I want to talk about that as well, plus recruiting news, and we'll have our first peek at the Big Ten baseball season, actually, and I will tell you how you can join our Everydayer Club. Plus, we'll take a look at Big Ten Classics and live action for the schedule of the Big Ten Network coming up this weekend. All that coming up here in a minute on Locked On Big Ten. Tax season is here, my friends, and you don't have to let it take over your life. I used to. I'm a TurboTax customer myself, and this year TurboTax is making it easier than ever to just hand things off and move on with your day. I quit doing it myself a long time ago. Hand it off to these guys. TurboTax will get it done. With their full service, you can have your taxes done for you by a trusted local expert, start to finish, without stress, guesswork. Did you mess up on the forms? Is the IRS going to be mad at you? What kind of return are you going to get? Instead of doing that and spending all those hours doing it yourself, you can meet with a local TurboTax expert in person or connect online. You still do that too. For a limited time, you can have your taxes done by a local TurboTax expert for just $150 all in if a TurboTax expert did not file your taxes for you last year. Just file by February 28th. That's coming up in a couple of weeks. So do it now and take taxes off your plate and get your life back. Visit TurboTax.com/local to book your appointment today. That's TurboTax.com/local. Thanks for checking us out here on Locked On Big Ten and making us your first listen each and every day. We are free and available wherever you are. And I want to thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network out there. Now, you check us out every day. Everydayers, passionate about your team every day. You can take it up a level. Get our audio version of this very podcast on Apple or Spotify, ad-free, interruption-free. Join the Everydayer Club. That also gives you members-only access to our Discord chat room. Those are hilarious, by the way, if you want to jump in the mix there. This is all just for $5 a month. Go to lockedonbig10.supercast.com for more information or check the link in the show notes afterward and learn more. So the Big Ten Student Athlete Issues Commission. I didn't even know that existed. Did you know that existed? The Big Ten Student Athlete Issues Commission. They wrote a letter to NCAA President Charlie Baker, and they called for an outright ban on prop bets based on individual player stats and performances. They said that this move would be necessary for the mental health of players and to help avoid harassment from gamblers. This is a problem. In fact, there was a study done in 2025. Over 20,000 student athletes were polled, and 51% of them came back and said, 51% of the Division I basketball players came back and said that they have received abuse about their performances on social media. People lose bets, lose money, and they take it out on the athletes. So for his part, Baker is urging state betting regulators to ban sports books from offering prop bets on individual college athletes. You can do it on the pros all the time. Some states have already done it. Can't get the prop bets on college players. Some states still have it. Missouri gaming regulators, for example, just denied a request by the NCAA to eliminate player prop bets in college athletics. Hey, PFF College Football just put out its list of highest graded transfer portal running backs grabbed in the transfer portal. And the list was front loaded with Big Ten acquisitions. Michigan State transfer, Cam Edwards coming in second on the list. He's coming from UConn, where last year he rushed for 1,240 yards, 187 yards receiving, and 16 total touchdowns. So he made the list. Former Old Dominion running back Trequan Jones, now with Maryland. He's third on the list. Wayne Knight is eighth. He follows Bob Chesney from James Madison to UCLA. A lot of good running backs coming into the Big Ten. That's pretty good. By the way, as we are here in February, we're in the middle of some great college basketball. I mean, this week, Big Ten basketball has been incredible. The Purdue Nebraska game in overtime was crazy. Wisconsin, Illinois overtime. So we're in the middle of basketball season as we've just come out of football, although spring football is coming up in a few weeks. Don't forget about Big Ten baseball. Big Ten college baseball. That's right. The Big Ten released its preseason poll. UCLA was a unanimous pick to finish first this year in the Big Ten. And the USA Today coaches poll also came out. UCLA ranked number 2 in the country, got 14 of the 30 first place votes. Oregon cracked the top 25 at 23rd. So we'll see if we can get Big Ten baseball to be improved. Not a huge showing in the rankings the past few years, and we've had to rely on the new West Coast teams for sure. Back to basketball, the Maryland Terps, they've been struggling under first-year head coach Buzz Williams. He took over after Kevin Williard, remember, got him to the Sweet 16 last year, and he took the Villanova job despite the fact that they were in the Sweet 16. He wasn't happy with how things were going with Maryland and their name, image, and likeness, and their commitment, and all this kind of stuff. So he left. And right now, this year's team, 2-10, as they were heading into last night's game against Iowa, which took place while we were taping this. And they've been blown out by 30 points in 4 occasions. So their leading scorer, Farrell Payne, he went down with an injury in December. So things are really tough over there at Maryland. And Buzz Williams addressed that with the media this week, all their problems. He said, look, man, we got to do a better job with our decision-making. We got to do a better job with our evaluations. He said regarding injuries to players like Payne, he can't control it, but it's a long grind. It's a long grind. He's having a hard time, and was very frank and forthright with the media. Men's basketball for tonight in the Big Ten, none on Thursday, tonight. Tomorrow, big game. Number 10, Michigan State is at Wisconsin. That's at 8 o'clock Eastern. It's on Fox National Television. We've been talking about a lot with Jeremy Fears. We did a podcast on him this week. Wisconsin, they're giant beaters in the Big Ten. They have beaten Michigan, Michigan's only loss, and also Illinois, and both on the road. Got a great scoring backcourt, Wisconsin. So that's the game tomorrow, Friday. Michigan State and Wisconsin. Be looking forward to that. As far as tonight, Thursday, women's basketball, Penn State at number 20, Maryland. The Terps coming in at 19-6. That's a 7 p.m. game Eastern on Peacock. Nebraska is at Minnesota. That's at 8 o'clock Eastern on Big Ten Network. Number 7, Michigan with their 20-4 record at Northwestern. That's a 9 p.m. game on Peacock. And Indiana at USC, 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Pacific. That's on the Big Ten Network. That's the women's schedule for tonight. So 4 games, 8 teams in action tonight. If you are new to our podcast, we always have features at the end of it. We have our top 10 Big Ten observations on Monday, coming off of a weekend. Tuesday, we do Tuesday tweets. Wednesdays, we power rank. Did that yesterday. You can check it out for a second listen after this one. Michigan's number 1, men's basketball in the Big Ten. Thursdays, today, we look at Big Ten classics and live action on the Big Ten Network coming up this weekend. We highlight a few things we think you'd be interested in. And then Friday, tomorrow, we'll make our picks for the weekend with all the basketball. So we'll take a look at Big Ten classics and live action on the schedule. That's coming up in a minute, right after this message from our friends at Mazda.
I'm Kalia Butler, host of Locked On Women's Basketball, and this is Mazda's Women's Basketball Snapshot, celebrating the work no highlight reel can ever capture. Dawn Staley and South Carolina remain on top of the SEC standings after handing Tennessee their worst defeat in program history with a final score of 93-40. In the 43-point win, South Carolina shot 69% from the field. Tessa Johnson had a perfect shooting night, scoring 24 points, shooting 4 for 4 from the floor, including 2 threes, and made all 4 of her free throws. And UCLA remains undefeated in Big Ten play, topping Michigan 69-66 as Player of the Year contender Lauren Betts put up a double-double, scoring 16 points, collecting 16 rebounds, and adding 5 assists and 3 blocks. These moments are earned off the clock, those long before the lights ever come on. The sweat, the fakes, the doubt, the scrapes, and coming back for more every time. Mazda puts the same drive into every detail. Wins define the moment, putting in the work, that defines you. There's more to a Mazda because there's more to you.
Thanks for checking us out here on Locked On Big Ten. All right, let's do it. Let's take a look at our Big Ten Classics and live action coming up this weekend. I'll put it on screen if you're audio only on Spotify or Apple or wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for joining us. We're just going to put it on screen, just a list, dates, school logos, and check it out for the Big Ten Network. Even though we have no affiliation with the Big Ten Network, obviously we have a lot of the same interests. So we'll pick it up with Friday, February 13th. By the way, Friday the 13th. Didn't know if you knew that. Friday the 13th. We'll pick up the action at 11 o'clock Eastern. This is 8 o'clock Pacific. One of their Big Ten basketball in 60s where they boiled down a game and edited it down to 1 hour. That Purdue-Nebraska game I mentioned from earlier this week. Wow. Overtime. Purdue in that game, started out 14-1, had a 22-point lead. They were up by 14 with under 3 minutes to go, and somehow that game still ended up in overtime. It was a thriller. You can check it out. Boiled down to an hour. Friday, 11 o'clock Eastern. And we'll fast forward to 2 o'clock now. We got another Big Ten basketball in 60, Wisconsin at Michigan State. Now, as I mentioned, Michigan State and Wisconsin are playing Friday, and so they're pulling out some of the good ones. Here was from 2025, a year ago. Jaden Atkins, 19 points. Jackson Kohler, a career-high 16 rebounds as the Spartans beat the then 11th ranked Badgers 71-62, so you can relive that. Then at 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific, they got a Wisconsin basketball classic. It's the Big Ten semifinal from 2025. Wisconsin and Michigan going head-to-head there. John Tonja with led the 5th-seeded Badgers with 32 points and 7 rebounds, and they had the upset victory over the top-seeded Spartans, 77-74. Remember it like it was yesterday. Meanwhile, we go back to live action on the Big Ten Network on Friday night. They love to do Big Ten wrestling on Friday night. You know, Penn State's a big deal when it comes to wrestling. It's Ohio State at Penn State at 7 Eastern, then at 9 Eastern, Michigan at Iowa. Another place that loves the grappling, the wrestling. On to Saturday. Let's pick it up. This is Saturday, February 14th. By the way, this is your reminder. That's Valentine's Day. Take care of your people. But if you're going to sit around and watch TV all day, here's what you could check out. At 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time, they got another Big Ten basketball in 60, the Michigan State and Wisconsin game that we just previewed. We're going to do some show some classics and some full games from the past. If you missed the live game on Friday, here we go. Saturday morning, get up. They boil it down into an hour. Can't wait for this one. Number 10, Michigan State and Wisconsin. What happened? If you miss it, you can catch it on Saturday morning. Then at 12:30, they got their Big Ten Live basketball tip-off show. Got all getting you ready for all the Big Ten action on the day. And pregame breakdowns and team updates, look-ins on campus, all that kind of stuff. They do a great job with that. And then they got a doubleheader of men's basketball at 1 o'clock. Northwestern is at Nebraska, and that's followed by the 3 o'clock Penn State at Oregon game. That'll be obviously at noon on the West Coast, so you can take a look at that. Now, frankly, Penn State and Oregon, both near the bottom. If you saw our power rankings in yesterday's Locked On Big Ten, by the way, go check it out if you missed it. Those two teams are they're around the bottom. So this is a game that both these teams need kind of get things turning around in the other direction. And that basketball doubleheader gives way to a Big Ten hockey doubleheader with Penn State at Michigan at 5 o'clock Eastern, followed by Wisconsin at Ohio State at 7:30. On to Sunday, February 15th. Can't believe we're midway through February already. It's going to be March Madness before you know it. Got a Big Ten women's triple header late on Sunday. All right. You can start it off 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific, Northwestern at Penn State, followed by 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific, Minnesota, Wisconsin. And then one out west, 8 o'clock Eastern. That's 5 p.m. on the West Coast. If you want to watch Oregon at Washington. Again, a women's triple header of basketball, Big Ten basketball on Sunday. So there you have it. Big Ten Classics, live action, highlights, Big Ten basketball in 60, all right there for your perusal. You can check that out. All right, I want to explain a couple of things. So we're here every day. We cover all 18 Big Ten teams, multiple sports, obviously, all the news of the day. I give you my analysis of that news. I give you my opinion of that news. It makes us unique. We are not afraid to give an opinion. You guys give me your opinions on the comment section too. Always love those. Keep those coming as well. If you're checking us out, you are likely a Big Ten fan. And that means I know you know other Big Ten people, maybe classmates, roommates from school, family members, whatever. Word of mouth, please let them know we're out here every single day. And a couple of things. We're here every day and we're free every day. If you can hit that free subscribe button, that way you'll never miss a single episode. Always love to have you there. Now, there's also another feature where you can level it up and join the exclusive Everydayer Club. Follow your team every day in the Big Ten. You can go ad-free, interruption-free on our audio version. You know, we're on video on YouTube, but our audio is wherever you get your podcast, Spotify, Apple, wherever. You can get those audio version ones ad-free, interruption-free, and have members-only access to our Discord chat rooms among our Big Ten, our Locked On hosts, and also the audience as well. Some fun trash talking going on there. All that's just for $5 a month. You can check it out at lockedonbig10.supercast.com. Check out the link in the show notes afterward for more information there. And that'll do it for us here today. Thanks for joining us. For Locked On Big Ten, I'm Craig Shemon. Talk to you tomorrow.